All right. This is Better Than Radio. Welcome to episode 1 of Overwatch Weekly. I am your host, Better Than, with my co-host,
Sea Dog. What's
the Sea Dog, the seest of dogs. And we're just here to talk about some Overwatch, what's going on in the current liveliness of Overwatch, talking about what's good and what's bad about it. Yeah, okay, so we're going to start off by talking about, just, in my opinion, just how good the meta is, honestly. The meta is really fun right now. What do you think, Connor?
I agree. I think it's really good right now. It's apparent that they're really listening to everything that their community has to say about their game, and then they're making those changes almost immediately. It's almost too fast. Like, there's been a crazy amount of change in the game. It's almost not even the same game as it was when it released.
Yeah, I can definitely agree to that. I remember upon release, Widowmaker was the most popular hero because of just how insane she is, honestly. But then you come to realize Season 2, she's now just the worst hero in the game. And it's...
Yeah, I remember I would watch streamers or whatever, and they said, no, everyone's going to run at least one Widowmaker forever because her walls are just way too powerful. But they are not. They're not that good. Her scope is way too slow. She is way too slow. And yeah, that is true. She's just bad.
Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to the meta, the current meta that I've noticed that is the most popular and my preference as well, is the 2-2-2 comp with 2 tanks, 2 supports, and 2 damage. And I think that, honestly, it's really balanced. It's a really balanced meta. It's really fun. It's there's a lot of sustain with typically, a Reinhardt on the team having 500 health and then having variety of other tanks. So there's a lot of health, a lot of beef on the teams, a lot of sustain with 2 supports, typically Zenyatta's or Mercy. Lucio's the big one too. So I'd say Zenyatta, Lucio, honestly. And then 2 damage that are rotated out.
Yeah, I think that the damage is where the real flexibility comes in. Because, you're going to have a Reinhardt, and you're going to have a Lucio. Like, that's just, if you don't, you're probably going to lose. Like, they're just 2 of the most powerful heroes in the game. And the DPS is where it gets really interesting because you can have anything from Genji to McCree. Sometimes even Hanzo is put in there as your DPS, which is always cool to see. The one character that you won't be seeing a lot of, sadly, is Pharah. Because her counterpart, Mercy, is seeing less and less gameplay. And when Mercy sees less gameplay, Pharah sees less gameplay. Because it's so hard to keep her healed up without that constant stream that Mercy can provide.
I noticed that. I'm pretty sure Pharah actually got buffed, Mercy got buffed in Season 2, which is an indirect buff for Pharah, and I actually seen significantly less Pharah play this season, Season 2 from Season 1.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Like, her healing got a buff for sure, and yet you see less play. I don't know. I just don't think it's enough to compete with the AoE healing that Lucio can provide. And the damage that Zenyatta can put out, if your team so chooses to have it, is so much better than the single target healing that she can provide.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, when you're
does more.
When you're looking at the A tier heroes, it's Reinhardt, Lucio, and Zenyatta really dominating. And then I'm pretty sure Mercy isn't even tier B. I think she's down to C or D, honestly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That would not surprise me at all.
In my opinion, honestly, she's debatably the best support in the game because of her res. It's so powerful. It essentially gives your team, it literally gives your team 2 lives. And essentially, if I have a Roadhog and a Reinhardt on my team, my team has 1,100 hit points worth of beef. Now it has 2,200 once they die. It's just things like that. But she's just, I don't know. Lucio definitely the best support in the game for the AoE healing. Really consistent. Also the 500 health spike from his ult. And then Zenyatta is just, he's essentially just a DPS with some heals on the side.
Yeah, and his ultimate is arguably the best in the game because if you just pocket his ult, you can save your team from pretty much anything. And the things that can't save you from, Reinhardt's shield can save you from, D.Va's shield can save you from. A Zarya bubble can save you from. So, I mean, like, if he can't save you, the other tank on your team or some other pick on your team can definitely pick up that slack.
Yeah, definitely. That's something I can atone to. So yeah, so we have the Reinhardt, we have the Lucio, and we have the insert other name that I can't think of. Zenyatta. We just talked about him. So Reinhardt, Lucio, Zenyatta. That's 3 out of 6. What are the other 3, Connor? What are we going with today? In regards to tanks, in my personal preference, I'd say, something I've noticed is Zarya is actually just a really high tier tank right now, mainly because of her ult, I presume. Her bubbles are okay.
Yeah, her ult is definitely really good for chaining ults, especially because, in that competitive scene, you have that teamwork that you can work out. Because, she ults and then someone else ults in, you can get a triple, sometimes even like quad kill, which can lead to a team kill. Although I would say her bubbles are probably like her strongest aspect, because if you can shield someone, they can absorb a lot of damage. Then you in turn can start putting out more damage. You can get in there, start taking damage to give yourself more damage. I think she's nuts. And how much health does Zarya have? Do you just know?
I want to say 400. I'll look it up right now.
She has a lot of health, and that makes her like beefy, but also able to put out a lot of damage. And she can keep herself alive in sticky situations. So I don't know. I think that she is definitely the second best tank in the game.
Second best.
Simply because Reinhardt's obviously.
Yeah, she has 200 health, 200 shield, so that's what we're working with.
So Reinhardt, Zarya, Zenyatta, Lucio, and then DPS is kind of up for interpretation, I would say.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a matter of countering your opponents. For example, on maps that are King of the Hill based, where both of you are going for the control of the points. If the enemy team has a Pharah, you're going to want a McCree. It just works like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Another thing is if the enemy team has, if they've elected to go pretty beefy with their tanks, things like Winston and Roadhog, you want a Reaper, just things like that. Mm-hmm. You want Shred for different things. And the interesting thing is when teams just start countering each other. But I think that, like strictly playing to counter. But I think that those 2 roles specifically those are the counter roles, you know what I mean? Everything else is pretty solid. Everything else is pretty set in stone. And then you have 2...
Yeah.
2, I never thought of this until I brought it up right now. But, yeah, you only have 2 counter roles now that I think about it. And then obviously you can have some wiggle room if you cut a support out of damage. Or cut a tank and out of damage. But in my opinion, that just makes your team so weak.
Yeah. I mean, you could go like 3-2-1, but 3-2-1 it doesn't really provide you with that kind of flexibility that 2-2-2 gives you. Just because limiting yourself to one like designated DPS role is it's kind of limiting in that fact that you can't really counter another team super hard like you can with 2 DPSs.
Yeah. And now that we're talking about the numerical value of a team comp as the 2-2-2, as we mentioned, and the 3-2-1s, let's talk about Ninja and Pajamas and their new meta strats. They're trying to break the traditional 2-2-2. I didn't silence my phone. And that is they added they went for the 3-3, the 3 tanks, 3 support.
I think it's awesome. I love it. I think it's so cool. I really like the utilization of Anna because she's like really the piece that kind of holds that 3-3 together. Her ultimate is so strong. You ult a Reinhardt in there, and then you can just toss healing / like anti-healing nades onto a point, and it's insane. Especially if she can place herself well, then her ultimate just gets charged like so quickly because she has 3 like literal batteries. Like those tanks are taking so much damage, they're not dying. Roadhog has self-healing, and she can just heal up like a diva and a Reinhardt both simultaneously, and her ult is just like insanely strong. So I don't know. I really like it. It's so hard to counter too, because like if you try to get behind them, there's just, I mean, first of all, they have so much health. They have so many supports that are just like keeping them alive. It's hard to counter. So I think it's really good.
Yeah, the strat that they or the comp that they run typically is obviously the Reinhardt, Zenyatta, Lucio. Those are the keys. But then like you were saying, they make Anna shine, which is really cool because I think she's debatably the worst support. Obviously, Symmetra is the worst support in the game.
Yeah, there
You
you
go. I think that who's the other support? Who am I missing? There's Symmetra, Lucio, Zenyatta, Mercy. Oh, there's only 5, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, Anna's debatably the worst support, but I've also read things that she's the best support. She can have the most sustained healing or single target healing in the game if used correctly. Also, you power charge your ult every time you hit a damaged teammate. So yeah, I think that on the support end, it's Zenyatta, Lucio, and Anna, and I think they really utilize Anna a lot. She's a huge part of it, which is surprising because she's not a huge part of team comps typically. And then there's the Reinhardt, who's the key tank, the only real tank of the game. You know what I mean? He's the only one that really, in a literal dialogue, says, "I am your shield. Get behind me."
The only other person who can kind of provide that is kind of Winston with this bubble, I guess. But I was thinking more Zarya.
In D.Va, she has her little deflector field.
That's true.
Which is actually stronger than Reinhardt's shield, because her deflector shield just it deletes every projectile that hits it. So I was playing one game where I was Hanzo, and I began to ult, and she flew into my face, holding up the shield. And while Hanzo's ult is still an arrow, it can delete it, which I was very disappointed to find. I was very upset that happens. Anyways,
that's the worst.
Another thing is I watched a teammate get his Hanzo ult deflected by a Genji, so that was fun to watch too. Different games, but same feelings.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have the Reinhardt up there at the front lines, and then they also have Zarya as the other staple, and they've been rotating Roadhog and Winston that's the malleable one.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to the damage output, they've been really utilizing the third tank, so Roadhog or Winston. That's your key source of damage, or not your key source, but that's your tank that's gonna pack a punch. And then they've been using Zenyatta as a lot of DPS and his Discord orb.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really interesting. I think it's a cool comp, and I've been wanting to try it a lot. It's hard to find people to get on board since the 2-2-2 is so popular, even 3-2-1. 3 and 3 is definitely just hard to piece together, especially since I personally don't play any supports, so that's forcing me into one of the tank roles, and I have to find 3 other people that would be okay with playing support.
Yeah, and it's also if you're just gonna queue up maybe even with a couple friends, even if it's 3 of you and you all go tanks, or even if you all go healers, convincing your other team hey, please don't insta-lock that Hanzo, or you're not gonna play DPS, you don't get to be the hero of this game. We're all just gonna work together. I mean, people solo queue just so they can mess around and stuff like that. So you really do need a team of 6 to try to pull that off.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to say, we'll do my final topic, then we'll move on to all of your topics. So my last topic that I had in mind. Oh, never mind. I have 2 more. Awesome. So one of my last topics I have in mind is competitive penalties. I think that the penalty system is not strong enough whatsoever. For example, I have a friend Chris. You have a friend Chris. We mutually share this friend Chris.
We share this friend Chris. Yes.
Yes. And he plays competitive with us sometimes, and whenever he solo queues, he played 3 games in a row where he had a lever, and I wouldn't mind the lever if he's in the first 30 seconds of the game, so it'll just cancel the match. But when your team starts to do poor rather than trying to rework the comp and address the issue, sometimes people just abandon the match. And So, it sucks because that puts you at a 5v6, so you're probably going to get the loss, and that also snowballs and encourages other people to leave. There's a message on the screen that says, hey, you should leave, you probably lost. You're still going to lose, but you don't get a penalty.
Yeah, like that's... Yeah,
so,
and then if you leave that game because someone left, now you, sir, now you get a penalty. And I'm like, oh,
no,
okay.
You actually don't get the penalty. You lose points, but if they've been gone for a full minute, you only take the loss. You don't get a penalty this time. But that's how the system works. And I think that the person that initially left, they lose about 200 SR or something. They lose some crazy amount of SR, which is fair. They should lose that SR. But
I agree.
They should also, and we were talking about this the other day, they should also receive a harsher penalty. I'd say the first time you can get a warning. That's something that you should, if you haven't been told, like, hey, don't do that again. So I'd say you get a warning. But then you brought up the other day that, like, the Heroes of the Storm system, we used to play Heroes a lot together, and that's on the first defense in Heroes of the Storm. When you leave, you have to play 2 games with other people that left their games.
Yeah, man, after that, I never wanted to DC from another game ever again, because it's just such a terrible experience having to play with those people. Because sometimes, someone just, like, disconnects, like, the internet just, like, decides to say nope, they DC, and, like, what are you going to do? You have to play a couple games. But rarely are those the people you play with. You play with really toxic people that you never really wanted to play with in the first place. And I think that's a really fair penalty. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think having, putting people that leave games with other people that leave games, it just puts them in the right environment, and it really cleans up the actual competitive scene,
Yeah, totally.
Like, I abandoned one match in Heroes of the Storm. I went through a really bad phase in MOBAs, at least, where when I didn't want to play anymore, I would just stop playing. So I did it. There was a period of my life where I left several League of Legends matches. I'm actually surprised I didn't get a harsher ban, because I left probably 20 before I got caught. It was really bad. It was probably not 20. It was probably 10 though, which is a lot.
That's still a lot.
I left a lot, and I got a. What did I get? I did get a ban. I don't think it was that harsh though. But anyways, so I felt bad, and I've stopped doing that for League of Legends. But I did it one time for Heroes of the Storm, and they threw me in that penalty box, and I've never done it again. I think that's the best penalty system that devs have ever made.
Yeah, because, like, it makes it so you can't queue comp. You can still play comp games, though. But now, you're just in that environment, which really teaches you to never leave again.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's something that needs to be addressed. And, okay, and then my final thing was, I think that the community of Overwatch has gotten very poor. I think that initially upon release, it was very strong. It was a really fun community. Everyone's level 1 to 50. We're all having a good time. And now I recently saw level 500, that's insane to me. I don't know what you...
That's awesome.
I go to school full time and I work part time, and I'm level 100 and I'm level 132, I think. And that's insane for me. I put a lot of time into the game, but level 500 is insane. My point is now we're dealing with people that are, think that they're better than everyone else, even better than himself. And the bad puns are just wonderful, aren't they?
Bad puns are bad.
Bad puns are bad. Anyways, yeah, like the other day I was playing, I'm god-awful with all the map names, but anyway, so I was playing I was on the attacking side, where, it was a payload map. So we're moving in. No, we're just in spawn. And I chose McCree, because I think I'm an okay McCree. And someone says, hey, better than, get off McCree. And I'm like, oh, that was rude. I'm going to not switch now. And so, I go and I look up his career profile, and I see that, I have 2 hours on McCree. I don't have that much experience. I think I'm okay on him, though. And he's diamond, and he has 17 hours on McCree. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna switch strictly because I know that you're better than me, and not because you told me to. Anyway, so I switch to Diva, and I actually get gold damage and elims, which I thought was funny. But anyways, my point is like the community is getting so harsh and so, I'd say, egocentric. Like, look at how good I am. Like, I share this in a sense, but I don't think I'm that toxic, at least to the team.
No, I get you. It has been a problem with any game that has a competitive scene. You're gonna have those kind of people who think they're the best, who tried too hard. I mean, obviously you should try because people around you are trying. That being said, though, those people who are toxic, like, oh man, like, what are you doing? Like, you suck. Like, get out of my rank. Like, all that kind of stuff. Like, they're trying just as hard as you are. You know, there's no need for that kind of toxic behavior. And the only problem is there's no way right now to really like crack down on that. Like, you could submit reports, but you know, the game is just so new. Like, what are you gonna do? It's already this toxic. Like, how? You know, they can't keep up with that.
Yeah, I definitely think Chris was saying that the community's gotten a lot worse than League of Legends, which I think is probably not true, but
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it could be statistically in League of Legends. You know, it's 5v5, so your player pool's 10, so your odds of getting a toxic player is at least 1 in 10. Well, in Overwatch, it's 1 in 12. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the stats are, you're a little more likely to run into people when you add 2 extra people. But I do think that, you know, just about every game, there's about one person at least that feels the need to ridicule their own team, which I think is funny because you're working with these people. Why don't you make it work instead of just shutting them down?
Exactly.
Because, you know, I was thinking about it, and no matter how good you are, you're not going to be able to 1v6. I don't care who you're playing either. There's just so many. When you're going up against 6 different champs, you're going up against, you know, 6 different E's, 6 different shifts, left clicks are all different. There's all these different abilities that you have to compete with, and your character may counter 1 to 3 of them. 3 if you have a really good pick against them. But then the other 3 are just going to shut you down. If you're playing McCree and they have, they have 2 offensive heroes that you're shredding, but they also have a Reinhardt, your ult's meaningless. He's just going to look at you, and you're going to shoot his shield.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can't even help it. Hope.
Yeah. No, there's nothing you can do. And then you're gonna get salty, like, come on, guys, like, I'm carrying the team right now.
Exactly.
Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe it's a new ranking system. People are trying to blame it on that. I don't know. I personally think the new ranking system is really good. I think in the next season they're gonna get it even better, and the ranks are gonna be even more accurate. So I don't know. People have their issues. I don't really have that many issues, so I like it.
I can agree with the ranking system, though. It definitely, season 1 was pretty bad. Definitely. It was saying that you were in the top 60. No, I think it was the top 80% of Overwatch players were ranked 60 and above.
Yeah.
And so you're in the top 20% if you're 60 or above, and I'm like, wow, that's 40 ranks of wiggle room.
But not really.
Come in.
Yeah.
Hi, brother. What's up? I'm busy right now, so. Cool. Anyways.
Little brothers.
All
right. Now that we've established that the community is toxic, I think that Overwatch can have something that can hopefully help it and help people play more consistently. Not like people already don't. But I think that daily quests in Overwatch would be amazing. Like, that is something that I would like to see very soon.
Yeah, you brought this up the other day. Why don't you just share some of your ideas and we'll talk about them.
Yeah, so the problem with daily quests, there are like, okay, what can the quests be? Like, how can these quests be completed, and what are the rewards for doing these quests? Uh, so I think that we can have two things. Like we can have character-related quests or role-related quests, if you will, and then there are like gameplay quests. So for like character quests, you can have such things as play a certain amount of rounds or win a certain amount of rounds or games as a defense champ or like an offense champ or a support. And I think these kind of quests will, maybe if someone was like, oh, well, I only play defense champs, like I can't support, if they get this quest, they might hop into a norms game and just go, all right, well, you know what, I'm going to try, it says play, win 3 games as Lucio. Okay, well, I'm going to try Lucio. And they end up really liking it, and congratulations, Overwatch now has a new support player, which we all need. We all need more support players, And there are things like gameplay quests, where, it's like pretty standard for like other games, other Blizzard games, like play 3 competitive games, win 5 rounds, stuff like that. Secure 2 King of the Hill points. And these gameplay quests can also be completed along with your character quest. So if you win 5 rounds and you have another quest that is, win 3 games as a defense champ. Play defense champ, win those rounds, and then you can get both those quests simultaneously. And like in Hearthstone, you can recycle 1 quest a day, and then for the reward options, the only like consistent thing that is fair, I feel like, would be the in-game currency, which are the coins. So I have no idea like how many coins you would get for completing each quest, like, because for an epic out of a loot box, isn't that 50 coins?
You mean like getting the change back or purchasing one?
No, like if you open the loot
I see
box.
What you're saying. Yeah, I think it's 50. Well, it's 1,000 for a legendary, so epic's probably, I think it's 200 actually. I'll look it up while you talk.
So I don't know. Maybe if you got like, I don't know, like 50 in-game currency or something like that, every time you completed a quest, I think that would be really cool. You could complete them in norms, comp, or even brawl. So you might see more players playing brawl, especially even if you take norms even like half seriously, you might not want to play some of the roles that you're given for quests. So if the brawl, so like this past tanks, so if it's like play a tank role, like all right, you just hop into the brawl. Everyone's playing tank roles, so you don't have to feel bad about like letting your team down. If you're like world's worst Reinhardt, you can still go play some Reinhardt and have some fun, stuff like that.
I'm gonna start by saying you were right. Epics are 50 currency. I don't know why I thought you just straight up get 1,000 currency via legendary. You get 200. That's that's what we're working with. No, I think that.
So okay, maybe not get 50 gold. Maybe get like 20. So, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, I think quests, if they were 25 gold, and then occasionally you can get win 7 games and you get 50 gold or something. I think, or currency is what it's called in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll definitely encourage people to play, and it'll encourage people to play daily. And if you have if you have the questing system stack up to 3 times, you're at least encouraging them to try their quests once every 3 days so that they can recycle all 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly the same concept as Hearthstone. Here's the Storm does a good job at it. I think that Hearthstone system is a lot better because you can recycle it. So if
I really like that.
Yeah, I like being able to recycle a quest a day because I don't particularly like playing Tavern Brawl in Hearthstone, and so every time I get the win 5 Tavern Brawls, it's 60 gold, but I'm going to recycle it for any 40 gold quest because I don't like Tavern Brawl.
Yeah.
I think that's a better system, whereas in Heroes of the Storm, it's telling me to play 2 games as a support hero, 2 games as Malfurion, and 2 games as a person that heals. These are all hypothetical. They're not true.
Yeah.
It's all pushing me towards Malfurion, who I don't play. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get you.
You can only push me in a direction so much before I can't. But yeah, no,
I feel it.
I think that will definitely. I think that's a really good system, and it's a way to get skins a little faster. And even if you make the currency, or if you make the reward even pretty low, like we were saying, 25 at the most, it's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and like, what Blizzard game doesn't have daily quests? Like, is there another Blizzard game that doesn't have daily quests?
Probably StarCraft, but that's more of a. I don't really think there's aesthetics in StarCraft.
No, I don't think so. So it's just pure gameplay.
Yeah, I think that. But when it comes to most of their games have daily quests. World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Here's the Storm. Diablo probably has dailies as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Diablo does have dailies.
But yeah, so I can agree to that. I think that sounds like a cool idea and something that should really be discussed.
Because I know retaining daily play is difficult for any game, and daily quests are like the best way to keep people playing every single day.
Yeah, and I think that it'll encourage people to try a variety of different things. Like, for example, I don't play supporting roles. You're talking to a Mei main. I have 22 hours on Mei because she's who I've chosen to play. And recently I've gotten into all the defensive champs. I've been playing all the defensive champs. Well, I don't play much tank at all, but when I do, I play D.Va and I play Roadhog. Those are my two tanks. But then it comes down to supports, and I don't have a support. I just kind of mix and mingle if I have to. It's more towards, the team needs a support. Someone's playing Zenyatta. Good, I'm bad at Zenyatta. I'll try Lucio, or I can try Mercy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that covers the daily quest topic. What else you got for me?
Not too much else. I would actually like to talk about
your volume got really low, so let's try again. Hello? We lost Connor. 1 second.
Hello.
Okay. You might be okay now.
Is it good now?
Yeah, it's fine now.
Okay, cool.
So where are we going with this?
Well, Symmetra is not a viable pick. And I think that's a problem because every single hero in the game you should be able to pick confidently. Maybe not in your team comp, but every hero should be able to be a threat and to be a viable pick. Symmetra she's just not. And I think that Blizzard needs to adjust this because it's been a while. The game's been out for a little while, and Symmetra is still not good. Like, she's just the second worst hero in the game, aside from Widowmaker. And there's just a lot wrong with her kit and the way she works. What do you think about her?
I can agree with that. I think she has a very boring kit. She sets up sentry turrets. It's really good on maps like which one's the sand one? The one with the Temple of something?
Temple of Anubis.
Temple of Anubis. Yeah, she's really good on point A on Temple of Anubis because the walk is, it takes a little bit to get there, so she has a teleporter, and then she has her sentry turret that she puts in the room to the left if you're playing on offense. But, other than that, her kit's not good. Her right click travels as slow as can be. I'm pretty sure it hurts a lot, but when you see it coming at you at 3 miles an hour, you just kind of sidestep it really quick. And when your full kill potential is holding left click on someone and hoping they can't deal 150 damage to you, that's when I think she does need a rework to some extent. Something to change her and make her a better hero. At least take her off of support. I think, honestly, she should be a defensive champ. She should be moved over to the defensive champ section, and they should take away her E, which is the shield, and they should put something else there, because, you know, the only thing that makes her support is the shield. That's what... I'm pretty sure that's what classifies her as a support.
Yeah. And, like, I mean, I guess a teleporter is kind of support, like, you know.
Yeah, but I think that that's a good... I think that would be fun on defense. Is like, it's encouraging people that are playing a defensive role to have a system to pull people over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess that is supportive because you are helping teammates, if that's what classifies you as a support, but... I do think that she is the worst support, and you know, whenever I play with a Symmetra, the vast majority of the time I'm upset because I'm playing with a Symmetra.
Yeah, same. So, I just had a couple little things, especially about her E, and actually her turrets. Her armor is useless. Like 25 armor. If you're a tracer and you have 25 armor.
It's actually
one shot by a main,
which is quite
shield.
That's relevant because it goes back up.
That's true. But like 25, like, they can't do 25 damage to you. Like seriously. Anyways, it can prevent tracer from getting one shot by Mei. You know, that's about the extent of its usefulness. It requires 0 skill. You just give it to everybody at the beginning, and then that's it. It's like the lamest ability in the game. And I think that the easy answer would just be like, oh, well, you know, give it more armor. Or like, maybe it's just like 50 instead of 25. Now, 50 is a pretty considerable shield, you know, like that's pretty decent. But the problem is that her ability requires no skill. So you're going to up the amount of shield that she can give you, and yet it still takes 0 skill to do. So I think that's definitely a problem.
She's also not consistently supporting, you know, now that you mention that, because, you know, say they get a team wipe on you, you have to put shields on everyone while everyone's rushing back to position. And while you're trying to set up all your sentries and work on your projects, you know, everyone's without shields now. They all died once, so you have to... It's something that had to be micromanaged, and in my opinion is just really bad. And people actually...
Yeah.
I want to say you don't even get notified. It'll, you know, it has the E thing over them saying you can put a shield, but it's not like... It's not a big effect. It's not...
No.
When you're playing Mercy or Lucio saying, you know, this person's at really low health, you should go heal them. Instead, it's just kind of like, you look at someone and, oh, I can press E on them.
Yeah. Exactly. One solution would be to increase the skill and therefore justify increasing the amount of shield. Maybe you would have to throw it, much like Torbjorn has to throw his armor, because that way you at least have to set it up strategically so that your team has to go get it, something like that, you know, because otherwise it doesn't deserve a buff, and that's a problem.
Definitely.
You could just do away with it altogether, think of something completely different, change the hero, but I don't see Blizzard doing that at all. They'll probably just edit what they already have, because they made it for a reason. I think it's just, it needs to be stronger.
Yeah.
And her turrets are the second best thing about her, because her teleporter is obviously the best thing about her. But, so her turrets, they slow enemies, they do some damage, and I guess the main benefit of these turrets is if an enemy destroys a turret that you place in a room somewhere, you now know where that enemy is.
That's true.
That's the biggest perk. The only problem with that is just your symmetra knowing where the enemy is, a person who literally can do 0 damage, like, that sucks. What if your whole team was notified that the turret was destroyed? That'd be cool.
I do think that's something that should be implemented, especially with like Junkrat's traps as well, because, you know, I'll set up traps randomly, and, you know, I enjoy being notified when my trap's triggered, because I usually put a bomb with it and I detonate it at the same time. But if my
Yeah.
whole team was notified, that's really significant, because if the kill marker doesn't come up after I detonate that bomb, that means there's a really low health enemy in that direction.
Hmm.
And yeah, I do think that adding that the indication of where they are for Symmetra's turrets would be really nice for the whole team.
Yeah. Another thing that I saw on Reddit when I was browsing some symmetra topics, uh, was what if her turrets could not only do damage and slow enemies, but what if the turrets could also provide some type of like healing boost or like a shield boost to teammates if they ran through? Like that'd be kind of neat.
That would be neat. That would encourage, turrets not just at choke points, but instead, you want to put one behind your bastion to give him whatever perks, whatever perks the rework would offer, and you want to put one by your sniper to give them the perks too. So then you have you end up setting it up to where there's 3 offensive turrets, or not offensive, but like 3 choke turrets and 3 supportive turrets.
Yeah, and then because if you can slow the enemy and you can notify the whole team where an enemy is, you don't really need that much damage because you already have such an advantage over them at that point. That way you can set up your other turrets behind your lines because let's be honest, it's like you really don't feel like the impact of those symmetry turrets unless all 6 are like you just run into all 6. Like, you'll melt at that point. But other than that, they're not too bad, especially if they're put pretty close. Reaper shotgun, take it out. Zarya's laser can just spam along an arc, take them all out, stuff like that.
Definitely. I think that with these ideas, I've never thought of these. I don't really think that much into Symmetra. I hate her as a champ in general. But no, I think that would make her a lot more interactive of a support. Now you have to make these micro decisions of, okay, well, who's getting my supportive turrets and who's getting my, even if you were to just strip her of her turrets and rework that, not like her turrets in general, but strip her of the 6 turrets and do something like the Harmony and Discord Orb, where you have 3 supportive ones and 3 offensive ones. You buff the damage on the offensive ones, and then like you buff the damage on that output on the other 3, and then you just add whatever perks you're going to give the new Harmony effect ones.
Yeah, I honestly think that would be a great idea. But the coolest idea that I saw about Symmetra, a way to make her better, her teleporter is obviously, like, that's the only reason why she's even picked. Because, like, the teleporter is an amazing advantage. But what I thought was a really good idea was, what if her teleporter, like, when players teleported through it, then it gave them a shield.
I think that's a cool buff. I think that because now that I was thinking about it, like after we were talking about the shield perk, the effect that once you give all 5 of your teammates a shield at the beginning of the game, you actually are just a hero with 1 ability now until you get your ults.
Yeah, and her gun sucks. It's just good for spamming choke points. Barely.
Yeah, I mean, she dies very quickly. She has a very small health pool, and when you have to get that up close and personal, it's understandable. The gun that does that much damage, she should be a little squishy, but when you have to get that close to anyone, a Hanzo scattershots under you, you die. A Mei headshots you, you die. Roadhogs kill you, you just die to everything.
Yeah. And you have no way to save yourself.
And you have 1 ability, and that 1 ability is to put down a turret that involves you to stop shooting, to stop channeling your gun. I do think that that's a really cool perk that I never thought of. I think that giving them a bubble, because, that's implying that the teleporter is set up for when people die, so they've lost the shield, obviously. I think that's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that would be really neat. So,
I also think that when she gives D.Va a shield, I feel like it should give it to the actual character herself.
Oh yeah, that'd be neat.
Because once the mech dies, I'm pretty sure she loses the shield. I'm not positive, but I'm like pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she does too.
But yeah, I like those ideas.
Those are just my thoughts.
I like it. It'll make her. I'll probably still hate her, but I think she'd actually be really fun if she had a supportive turret if she had something that helped the team rather than just setting up choke points.
Yeah.
Or kill gates is what they've been coined.
Yeah. I think that Symmetra has potential. She just doesn't have anything really going for her right now. But I would love to see Blizzard do some things to hopefully make her a more viable pick.
She definitely has the most boring kit in the game. I think she's the second worst champ in the game because I think Widowmaker is even worse than her. But at least Widowmaker's kit, she's a sniper and that's what you do.
Yeah.
Whereas Symmetra, you're a person with one ability that puts a teleporter down sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, Bastion arguably has the most boring kit in the game.
You know, I actually have a lot of fun with Bastion. You know, I play him kind of like you would play Soldier 76, where you're running around. I was playing a game as Bastion last night, and someone's forcing me out of turret form. They're getting too close to me, and you know, you know what it was? It was a Pharah that was shooting at me, and I couldn't stay there. I had to move. So I'm running around. This Reinhardt's charging at me now, like not literally, but he's running at me, swinging his hammer, doing Reinhardt stuff, and I'm no longer in turret form, so I can't kill him efficiently. So I'm kiting him, you know, trying to run backwards and shoot him. And I got Anna's ult. She ulted me. And so I'm just this beefed up running around Bastion. I got a double kill just running around, and it was a good time. I think Bastion has a lot of potential when you don't only play him in turret form.
Yeah.
And I
agree.
He has debatably the strongest ult in the game. I mean, it's not true. He doesn't have the strongest ult in the game, I know that for sure, but it's a powerful ult. It kills every defensive and offensive hero if you hit them. And it, like, 3 shots tanks.
Yeah.
I don't know how much damage it does. I think it's 200, but it does a lot of damage.
It does do a lot of damage, that's true.
Yeah, so this episode's getting kind of long, and I know we're going to discuss the my last segment that I have planned out, and that is a segment that I want to do at the end of every Overwatch Weekly episode, and that is called Buff Please and Nerf Please, though spelled PLS, so it's Buff Plus and Nerf Plus. So, which one would you like to start with, and then we'll throw in our inputs?
I think we should start with the Nerf category.
Okay. And I'm sure we both have the same person to nerf, but I will let you choose, and I'll let you know mine as well. So go for it, Connor.
Same person to nerf?
Yeah.
How do you know that? What do you think? What do you think our same person is?
Yeah, I think it's May. I think May needs a nerf really bad.
Oh yeah. Well. Okay. Here's the problem with May is they buffed her ult so that she would be picked, and now that she's picked, people are like, "Oh shit, she's so strong." Like that kind of.
I think they buffed her so people would pick her. I think that was, you know, is strategic, and I also think her ult kind of needed a buff. They upped the range on it, and
it's like an ocean now.
Yeah, it's a huge area now. I do think that her ult needed a buff, but her right click kind of, you know, she was pretty balanced when her ult was kind of bad, but her right click was really good. But now her ult's really good, and her right click's really good, and she's just this overly good champ that one-shots Tracer out of spawn, and I feel bad every time I do it. You know, it's just...
Yeah, I think maybe reduce the damage on that right click, definitely. Because, like, yeah, it's hard, but at the same time, like, if you get someone who's, like, let's say they're like a Hanzo main, like, they're already used to flicking to a target. And, like, Mei is basically the same thing. So if you have someone who's even half decent at that, they're going to be really putting a hurt on the enemy team. Almost uncontested, because, like, oh, just in danger, ice block, or, like, ice fall. And, like, I think she does do too much damage for the amount of defensive kit that she has.
You know, I was talking to Jared the other day because he was trying Mei out. And you know, I came to the realization that Mei has, I want to say, the most utility in the game, along with her damage output. So she's one-shotting Tracer and D.Va and Symmetra. Well, D.Va outside of her mech, obviously.
Yeah.
And so she's one-shotting these 3 heroes. She's doing... That's crazy, you know, that's... For one bullet, you know, all you have to do is land the headshot. So aside from that, she also has a wall, which is a zoning tool, on Hanamura, you just close the gate, and the only way you can get you actually just close the gate, and the only way in is that little window up in the top left if you're facing the gate, and only a select number of heroes can actually get through that. So your Reinhardt's not going to be able to get through. Your Roadhog's not going to be able to get through. You have to wait for that wall to go down. The wall lasts like 2.5, maybe 3 seconds. It's quite a while to be zoned out, and the only way to destroy it is pretty much just a bastion. It's really strong. I'm a main, so I hate the idea of her getting nerfed because I play her so much. I have a good time with her. But in a realistic sense, she doesn't need that. Because also, at the same time as she has the zoning tool, she has self-sustain. She doesn't need a healer because she can heal herself for, I believe it's 125.
A lot. A lot.
You don't go to full health for sure. So you're not healing for that much, but you get at least 100 health.
Yeah, it's a lot of health.
You're also immune for about 4 or 5 seconds, which is a really long time to not be able to be moved or take any damage. And then, it also gives you time to really decide what you want to do after you pop out of the ice block. I was watching a video with Ray yesterday, and it was, bashing on May, of course, and it's like, once you go into your little safe cocoon where you're healing yourself, you get to think about your next move. You really get to sit there and figure out how you want to kill your enemies after this. I think it's nuts that she can contest a point in her ice block form, because that's 5 seconds it doesn't move, that she can't take any damage whatsoever. Same with Reaper's Ghost. I think that probably shouldn't contest as well.
Yeah.
And then, aside from these basic abilities, her ult is an insane zoning tool. It's bigger than the wall, and the enemies can't go in it, or they're going to get frozen and die. It's just that simple. It's essentially another wall that's even bigger.
The better effect.
Yeah, and aside from her basic kit, she also has an elevator and a bridge.
Yeah.
On Hanamura, when you're playing defense and you're running back, you can take the right route that is made for like Divas, Genjis, and Pharahs to get over. And you can put a wall there, and you can walk over it. That's how I get back.
Yeah.
Another thing is getting to any vantage point, like on Volskaya Industries. When you're playing on the defensive side, you can get on that little hut. You can get a lot of places. I watched a video of a bastion hiding behind a wall, like behind an in-game wall, and then a Mei boosting them up, and it was called Surprise Bastion. And there's a Bastion randomly at a vantage point that he shouldn't be at. And, he gets a double, and she takes down the wall so that, he doesn't get shot. And it's just...
That's so cool.
She has so much utility for how much damage she does.
Yeah, I agree. But the damage needs to be nerfed. Yes, final verdict.
Just on her right click, in my opinion. All right, so who's your nerf plus? Who are we talking?
Honestly, I think that Reinhardt needs a nerf.
Really?
Not like I don't think he needs like a nerf or anything like that. But his hammer is just like outrageous, its range is so wide. It definitely extends beyond the image of the hammer. I feel like if they just pulled back the range on his hammer, I think that would make him a lot more balanced. As someone who plays Reinhardt, I would hate to see it, but at the same time, I would also like to see it because it's just ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous how much range his hammer has. And I don't know if that's a nerf, more of it's just kind of like dialing it back. But I don't know. I think that might be necessary.
No, I definitely think his hammer has too much range for actually just being a melee weapon. I think it's really funny when you get hit by a hammer that's, actually just a yard away from you. You don't understand.
Yeah.
I think that's something that can be a little nerfed, but other than that, I think his kit's pretty balanced,
Yeah, so do I.
His charge does 300 damage, which is fair. You're getting smashed into a wall by a massive hunk of man.
And then I think on the tank nerf category, Diva's shield is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I never realized how insane her shield was, but for the amount of ults that she stops with that thing, it's pretty nuts. It stops Tracers, it stops Hanzos, it stops Maze, it stops actually just any projectile ult in the game. And all she has to do is hold right click and it's gone, and it has a second cooldown. I think they should up the cooldown, and that'll justify the brokenness of the shield.
Yeah, because then you really have to decide when you're gonna put it up, take it down.
I think if they make it even just 2 seconds, that would really fix the problem. Because 1 second, you can pretty much have it up all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I can agree with that. I think they definitely need a nerf, and I think Symmetra, for the buff plus, I was going to talk about Symmetra a little bit, but I think that she doesn't need a buff. She does need a rework, if anything.
Yeah.
But then we move on to the buff plus section of the show, the final segment, and that's going to be, in my opinion, Widowmaker. I think she went from being the tier one pick that everyone needs on their team. That is, the beta weekend that we played together was that's how it was. Widowmaker was god tier. She was the best. Even season 1, she was played quite a bit.
Yeah.
To now, she is rarely played, and every time I play with a Widowmaker, I want them to switch. No matter what side. Offense, defense, King of the Hill, I should not have this Widowmaker. She has the least influential ult in the game.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think she is fairly garbage at this point in the game. I don't know if really anybody else besides Widowmaker. I mean, obviously Symmetra, but she needs more of a rework, like you said. But yeah, I can't. I think the game is just really balanced right now, to be honest. Because even though Soldier 76, he hasn't really picked a whole lot, but at the same time, I feel like his kit's balanced anyways. He's just not as good. He just can't output as much damage and have as much of an impact as like a Genji or a McCree, So, I don't know. I think it's pretty good.
I think the whole game is really nice right now, but, when there's a hero that has such little influence, I mean, I don't know how you would buff her in any way, besides maybe making her poison mine do a little more damage, but it already does a truckload if you manage to hit it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if
I don't know.
I think even a small buff that might fix her is instead of adding what's it called, drop to the when you shoot the Widow Mine, making it a dart instead, kind of like Anna's sleep dart. How it's just it's a bullet, it's a dart. So instead of throwing it and it arcing, it just goes straight.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
That might be good. Yeah, no,
so
I get what
you can
you're
use it
saying.
offensively rather than just setting it up behind you or under you.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I don't know if it would make her viable.
I don't think it would fix her, but I think it's a step in the right direction.
I agree.
Because when you're dealing with the supports in their back line, if you can just shoot that dart in the back and they're running around focusing on supporting and they step on it, they lose half their health.
Yeah, which is a big advantage.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we've talked about all the things that I really wanted to talk about for the Overwatch Weekly.
Yeah. I think we covered a lot of good topics, and hopefully we'll see some of these changes in the near future.
And my hope for this is that this everything we discuss becomes a discussion topic of anyone that decides to listen to our hour-long podcast. And, it really gets community involvement rather than just us two ranting back and forth to one another.
Yeah, that is the point.
And hopefully it just cycles through to where it's this big community discussing things. It's not just two dudes being dudes.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it'd be really cool to get inputs, especially for next week's topics. Expect this episode of Overwatch Weekly, episode 1, to be uploaded on either September 18th or 19th. I haven't decided yet. We'll find out real soon. Thank you for listening.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been real.
It's been fun.
It's been real fun.
Oh, yeah.
See you guys in the next week.
See ya.